that you were here. Wonder if I come off as delusional when I break your heart and help to wipe the tears. I just want love like all the movies. Texas Chainsaw hold me out of fear. That one day you could lose me to a maniac that don't exist. Instead I get love like all the movies. The credits roll, she's just an actress. The second blow is slow to hit me. I'm finding out all her lines of love were from a script. Then I revert into a little kid. Swear to God, these tears feel endless. Were you ever even really here? You must have been. We got 2, 3, 4 years of memories, all of which now amount to shit. But I promise, baby, that I can get you feeling me, even if I'm just a little itch. Honestly, I just crave to feel your fingertips. I would love to hear and see your sense of relief. You stole my heart, you should be arrested. You pretty perfect petty little thief. But it doesn't matter, I know you get off. It always turns you on to break the law. But what do you see once you finally climax in that stranger's car in that parking lot? Likely something quite amazing, and if you're lucky, it's far out as the fucking stars. But that depends, hey, what pills are you taking? Or smoking or shooting up your arm? You like those 20, 30, 40 pleasant milligrams? I can't miss a kiss what you've become. Something similar to a hologram, 'cause I can't touch you, but there you are.
Sweet. Okay, that actually makes things so much fucking easier for me.
So, hello, I'd like you to meet my friend Benjamin Short.
Benjamin Short. I can't speak right now.
Yeah, I get that. It's hard to speak sometimes.
Yeah. Are you from Colorado?
From Atlanta.
Atlanta?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah.
So I've actually never been anywhere on the East Coast. My sister just moved to Georgia. So I think she instantly went into like collecting chickens and stuff. But like, what did you do for fun when you're out there?
Well, most of it, I don't know, practice guitar, honestly, and did drugs, that's pretty much it.
Were you like kind of small town, like?
No, I was like Atlanta, so
like not like outskirts, like right up in it.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me because I know everyone's always like, we moved from the city, like to these small towns to get away from the drugs. And I'm like, I grew up in one of the small towns. I'm like, well, this is where we make the drugs.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, people found out the hard way, those kinds of things.
Yeah. And I'm like, it's always gonna be everywhere. But yeah, I always like to ask, what's one of your like earliest pivotal memories with music?
I remember hearing this Bright Eyes song. I mean, there's a lot of moments with some Bright Eyes songs, but they I think it was June on the West. No, it wasn't that one. It was The Difference in the Shades. It was like one of their super old albums. And it's just like this song that like I listened to it a few times, but one time I listened to it and it just, the meaning of it and all the words just hit me all at once and it made me fucking weep, man.
How old were you when this happened?
At some kind of teenager age. I don't remember specifically, probably younger than 15, like pretty young. It's such a good song, man. It tells a story of like this woman that, and like you get to know like parts of like, you get the gist based on some of the things that he says and some of the ways he reminisces. He says like, we'll stay he talks about dancing up there alone with her in an apartment while the sunlight comes in and paints them gold and like just like this cool imagery. But then she's like dead at the end of the song.
Fucking plot twist, bro. I'm not ready.
She's dead at the end of the song, and like
that's so sad.
Yeah, he talks about the pills and the pictures that surround her head as she's on that bed, and it's just the most gut wrenching, like rip out your fucking heart song.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I had a conversation the other day. I think because I was watching some sort of movie where the partner had passed away in the bed, and then someone walked in, and the wife was like so embarrassed that she hadn't called anyone to take the body because she'd just been laying with her husband for so long. And it kind of reminded me, I think it was Betty Page, if I'm not wrong, but I think she got like sent to a mental hospital or like arrested or something because she dug up her husband to like lay with them.
Wow.
And I feel like anytime people talk about like the deceased and stuff, it's like, I feel like your whole view of like morbid shit like should be different when it comes to death of someone close. Like my sister was a mortician and she did these classes and she's like, if someone just like abruptly is gone and you don't spend the time like with animals, you kind of show them each other and everything. So it's like we're no different.
Yeah. And
I think that's why a lot of people struggle with grief when it's like the person's instantly gone, instantly cremated, like especially with kids too, not telling them like, someone's not doing well and explaining it beforehand, but then just sweeping it under the rug, So I don't know, stories like that I think it strikes a nerve with me. I totally didn't mean to go on a tangent.
I get
that. That was a deep cut.
Yeah, it is, man. It's kind of shit, it gets you thinking, That's when you know it's really good shit, at least in some sense,
Yeah. Have you ever had any like experiences with like grief or things like that?
Yeah, I had a friend pass away. Her name was Sarah. She died from a heroin overdose, and I saw her like probably just a couple weeks before that, and man, it was just so hard to grasp that. I was probably like 19, 20. And it was, yeah, man. But like I don't think of death. It's really just missing the person that's such. Like death is a piece to me. So I know that.
I get that like so much. I feel like anytime I get like morbid, like I feel like people always kind of get tripped up, but I'm like, I don't know, like for me if I'm here, like I'm gonna try to do like good service best I can, but like the truth is like I'm so fucking tired 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Even like the afterlife sounds exhausting to me.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think I lost a friend to like I don't know, I never found out if it was an overdose or if it was self-harm. I'm not the kind of person to go, you know, bugging people to get those types of details. All I knew was too young, and I always feared that it was his own hand because he had been going through a lot, and I used to send him church sermons and stuff, and you know, talk to him late at night whenever he was struggling. And just one day I just kind of stopped, and not long after he was gone, I think for about a year I kind of dealt with the guilt, feeling like I was responsible in some way, or could have been a relief. But yeah, do you ever carry like those friends into your music?
Oh yeah, I wrote her a song called Sarah's Soliloquy, and it's just kind of so when I wrote it, I went to the place that we had last hung out together, and I just stayed there until I finished the song. And it's just kind of a, I don't know, almost jaded viewpoint on it. It goes on to say that at the end that, to ask the question, would I have felt any different with the opportunity to say goodbye, you know? And it's kind of sad in a sense where it's like, you know, of course not. But the song kind of goes through all these things in life, like our friends drinking to her memory, or thinking about the specific details of how she might have died, or thinking about how the people close to her feel, and they all come to the same conclusion that she's dead no matter what. Right?
Yeah.
But I feel like that was it kind of encapsulates the kind of person she was. She was definitely out there, you know. She would have had a weird take on dying, I feel like, you know.
Yeah, I do feel that. I don't know, I think that's so beautiful that you spent time like where you last like felt their presence. I think that's I feel like that's kind of like the same thing as like, you know, sitting there and being like, I'm gonna process the fact that I'm here alone this time, is like the same kind of benefit as like going to a wake or things like that, you know. I think that's beautiful. Yeah, I sometimes I write people like letters through my songs, or I think the most inappropriate thing I've ever done, or at least it felt that way, was I was coping with my friend's loss, and I knew that they had a kid, and I also knew the kind of music that they liked, and we had a lot in common, and I just got really hung up because I have really shit mental health, and I don't see myself as any better in my own shoes, like where I'm like, if this was me instead of them, you know, because you never know with people, what would I want my kids to know? That was the question that was raised to me the most. So I wrote a song for my children, and by the time I was done, I had been thinking about the people that have been lost in my community recently. Around that time, there's a lot of grief, and something in my heart was like, just share it with people, like send it to them directly. Like, you had certain people in mind, send it to them, because you don't know. And I feel like that's still extremely inappropriate, but it just was just what my heart would let up on. It's like, just send it to them personally. And luckily they responded well, but yeah, that was definitely tough. But yeah, no, sorry, I totally don't mean to be like so chatty today.
No, it's a good chatty time. I feel like, you know, I feel that. I feel like no, I mean, I totally feel that. I mean, like, I feel like, especially the artist, musician kind of person, just weird people, man. Like, you're gonna get these bursts of emotion in some artsy kind of way from us, you know.
Yeah, especially because like you never know like who's going through what, you know. So it's like, even I feel like grief was something I used to dive into a lot. I got hit with like a lot of shit really young. Just like my whole community was losing people left and right. I think it was before people knew about fentanyl. And it was just like wiping out people in my high school class. And like, yeah, it's just, I feel like once you go through that, it's like, it's really hard to look at death as something that you can't talk about, you know? But I especially feel bad for my sister who's a mortician, because like when she gets into it, whoo, Like she can clear a whole room. Like.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that's a really close up.
But so I'm just curious because I've been thinking a lot about high school lately. Dipping into some of my journals and stuff. What did high school look like for you? Were you like someone that liked school, or you fucking hated it?
Well, I left school in 10th grade and I got my GED.
Oh, for sure.
But those 2 years, man, they were definitely embarrassing. I was just like the cliche kind of emo kid. I think I wore eyeliner.
I love it.
But I still listen to a lot of those bands, like Asking Alexandria, Bruce the Veil, Sleeping in Sirens.
Did you ever go to the Warped Tours?
No, I never worked tour.
Oh my gosh. I was a huge emo kid too. And yeah, the Warped Tours and everything, that was like massive.
Yeah.
I think I didn't know about the scene emo community a lot. My friend was just introducing me, and within like a month, I'm going and seeing like all these different bands. I was tripping.
Mm-hmm. I went to Mayhem Fest and Asking Alexandria played Avenged Sevenfold, played Suicide Silence was there. It was pretty sweet.
You saw Suicide Silence?
Yeah.
Like original?
No, it was a new guy. I wish.
Still.
I wish.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, God, no. What a time. I love all the emo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about modern emo music compared to like 10
I
years
feel like
ago?
some of it. It's definitely a different kind of music, different kind of cringe too. You know, there has to be some kind of cringe aspect to it.
Yeah, otherwise you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
Gotta fully commit.
But that's some good shit coming out. I get scared to venture into a lot of new music because I hate being disappointed. I hate listening to something I'm like, oh, that's awful, or I don't fuck with that, you know. So it's really hard to like. But every now and then, I've heard like a lot of these new like really heavy bands are pretty good.
Yeah, do you have any recs?
No, I don't know. I don't know any of their names, man. But they come on sometimes. I'm like, yeah, dude. Yeah.
So okay, I feel like sometimes I struggle with listening to music because I'm so obsessed with making more with whatever tools I have. Like I'm just now trying to figure out some instruments and stuff, but it's like I feel like when I listen to music, I kind of put myself so far beneath it. I haven't been enjoying it as much. Since you make music so often, do you ever feel like it's hard to like listen to other music?
No, not very often. I listen to music like so often. Like every time I get up in the morning, and maybe before or after I shower, I just sit for a minute and listen to some music. And then sometimes I throw it on while I'm in the shower. If I'm doing like a long repetitive task at work, throw on music. And so I would say I listen to a lot of the stuff that I make, but I make stuff that's really similar to the stuff that I really like listening to. And yeah, I'm always excited to hear my playlist, man. It's like the same few songs, but
I know I'm a big creature, but I like what I like. Mm-hmm. You know, if I'm going to the gym or cleaning the house, like I got certain songs that like just they hype me up. You know.
Always, yeah.
Yeah. So, what's the last album that you've listened to all the way through?
Probably what's still like my favorite album ever is Lifted. Oh, I'm trying to think of the full title. Well, the abbreviated version is Lifted by Bright Eyes. Such a good album. It's like the kind of album where I don't even like to listen to any of the songs on it because then it's gonna make me want to hear the full album. But it's just like a beautiful experience from top to bottom. It starts off with like this couple. You hear them like get in the car for a car ride. Then the guitar comes in and the guy starts singing. Basically, it kind of sounds like they're in the car and the music's coming from the car radio. And so then they kind of start singing along to part of the song, like how people would if they were in the car, just kind of lazily singing along to it. And then the lyrics are just fucking beautiful. There's like a line where he's like, oh man, I don't know, man. There's so many good lines, but there's one where he's like, "It's okay if you keep kneeling, mom, but I'm standing up," and like talking about like prayer and belief and like just the way he ties it in. It's just, man. So
that sounds beautiful.
It's such a cool song.
Speaking of prayer and belief, just because you make it easy on me, I always like asking what people think. Like, I'm not someone that ever wants to push my ideas. I get fucking bored with how I process the world.
Right.
What is your view on like spirituality and stuff?
I'm an atheist.
Yeah.
But I think of a lot of my atheism as almost like a rejection of God, because I in my opinion, and it's not to like diminish anyone's belief of God, but I think even people that do believe could maybe agree with it, like that's something that is inside of you, to some extent, and it's like, and so regardless of if I feel like Jesus Christ or God are real, the impact that they have is more real than I'm ever gonna have an impact on the world. And so for that, I think they absolutely are real in that aspect, but it's not, it's not the thing that I go for a lot of natural films, just kind of riding the wave, and it's just not something that I feel inclined to believe. But I definitely like believe in some far out things. I mean, I've had some experiences in life where it's like, okay, that's unexplainable,
Yeah. No, I have one friend who they're also an atheist that I got to sit and ask them. I was like, okay, so like whenever I do like my thing, like I have certain ways that like the way I look at the world impacts like my decision making and stuff. And I was like, what's your like relationship with your atheism, and like how does that influence your thought process? Because I was really curious, and they were saying that they're like, when I die, I believe it just goes black, feed me to the bugs, like it's over. But because of that, I see so much power and potential in today's decision making and the connections that I make, becoming more fearless to reach out to people, because it allows them to look at their life with such value in everything. It's like knowing this can end tomorrow, like it, and I was like, that's fucking beautiful.
Right.
I was like, that's really like interesting to me. I also have friends that like to do like manifesting and things like that. Like what do you feel like is something that you think about when you think about like I said, like the relationship between like actions and thought process?
Well, I think a lot of a bunch of religions, or probably our religion, some have like a guideline for morality. I feel like, since I don't believe that morality, one, I think morality is a lot thinner of a concept in the grand scheme of people. Even if you view people as like a linear scale that just keeps improving, like people in the past probably sacrificed babies, to appease what we would laugh at now for them believing in love with their gods,
Yeah.
And even not that long ago, people were kept in chains as slaves, or a few years ago, gay people couldn't get married, and that's still a thing in some places. And so, and so it shows you that morality is largely based on it. We want to believe that they're just universal beliefs, but it's largely based on the time period that you live in and the people around you. And if society flips, then something new becomes morality, whether it is good or bad. And so when I think about something like dying, what happens afterwards, there's when I think about what I would want, I would want there to be nothing,
Yeah.
because I don't know, I think that it's enough to experience this once, and like
100%.
even if I have the greatest days ever for the rest of my life, I've been through so much awful stuff, and it just follows you, and I wouldn't consider it worth it,
Yeah.
in my opinion, and it's like, it's not a reason not to make the best of what you have. It's just, I just think of it as a concrete observation of it. And so, but it's not something that I even really think about, because it's not one of those things that have any amount of foreknowledge or change, it's like, it's one of those, death isn't something worth diving into because it's inevitable, it's gonna happen regardless. I think it's cooler to dive into like the things we may never experience, like outer space, but we'll all get the answer one day. That's how I look at it,
Yeah. No, I love your perspective too about morality being such a thin line too, because I'm gonna be totally honest. Like I feel like a lot of my beef with religion, I have shit tons of religious trauma. Like, well, I mean, you play double jeopardy with me sometimes, but I struggle with a lot of this like impending doom and guilt that is pushed by religion, and not just pushed by religion, but also society. think I've complained to you, I'm like, I don't feel like I fit in with other moms. I feel like they judge me for going out and singing instead of being home with the kids 24/7, you know? And I feel like that line of morality, it's like, though those women may mean well by judging me, they might think that I might wake up and become a better mom in their eyes. That's not my story, you know? And I think you're right, it is the time periods, but it's also, you know, what are you seeking in your life? Because what you're willing to do for what you're seeking based on level of opportunity and all the thousands of factors, down to, did I sleep enough last night? Did I eat? Like, people are so fucking complicated. I truly believe that your moral has to be set by self.
Right.
You know? Because I don't think everyone's supposed to play the same role in life. It makes no fucking sense if we all do. You know? You ever see Fairly Odd Parents?
Yeah, hell yeah.
You see the one where they have like all the pixies and it's all just like gray and bland.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how the world is without individuality, you know?
Absolutely.
We all have different things calling to us, you know? And I feel like it's important to listen to you know? No, I thought that was a really cool take. I'm still tripping on that. That's really cool. So, that song that you opened with, yeah, Hologram, that is extremely vulnerable and extremely beautiful. So I get a lot from your lyrics, and they're extremely poetic. Did you just kind of like stumble into poetry? Did you start with songwriting? Like, how did that work?
I started with just writing poetry. I remember being real young and reading like Sylvia Plath, just a lot of other poets, and just I love, one of my favorite things about it was, one of the things that I struggled with growing up was like literature, not in like the writing sense, but the punctuations and sentences and
I
stuff
struggle with
like
that too.
And you know, though I eventually got it, I love that poetry was like this purposeful excuse to just do things that you can't do in sentences, in like, you know, a document or like an essay. And
a little rebellious.
Yeah, but it also just kind of spoke to like the synesthetic way that I kind of always viewed the world, and so it never really felt like a reach to speak to the colors of the emotions that I felt, or you know, speak to the way that the nature ran around me or something, and just I just love words a lot. It's the best. Like,
yeah, I think I started doing poetry because my sister took me to a poetry slam. We had no entertainment in my hometown, no resources to shit. And so I see all these kids get together for a senior project, do all these poems, and I was like, that's literally music,
right.
without me having to know how to play an instrument, because I just never thought it'd be good enough to learn. So yeah, once I put that together, I just started fucking writing constantly. I don't think I've been able to like physically stop ever since.
That works. The best thing ever.
But yes, since we're talking about like kind of poetry and dipping into like how we see the world and things like that, you have a song, Studio Laughter, that I'm obsessed with. I feel like it's like super pleasantly dystopian. It's kind of like the vibe that I feel when I listen to it is kind of being like content in a fucked up place, you know? And I just love it. I think it has a lot of sense of humor to it as well, and it's very charming. But if you care to share kind of like the feeling that you were trying to capture with that, I would love to hear.
I love to, man. I love that song a lot. It's like all my songs are little babies, man, but I love that song so much. So like coming in it from the first line, it opens with regrettable actions, and then it kind of, and so that's meant to kind of just subtly give like a present tense reflecting back-ish nature to it. So like it's like saying, yeah, these were regrettable actions, and so it's like if I have the ability to acknowledge that, then you have the ability to learn from those things. But then it ends with saying you became this real studio laughter, and so it kind of just keeps bringing up how harsh the lesson is to learn, but not really learning from the lesson at all. But the thing that like got me to write that song, and I was just going through like the dating is so hard, it's so awful, and I just feel like I ran into like I'm not gonna take away like my wrong. I do a lot of wrong, but yeah, I just feel like I ran into like the worst, most like evil people, man. And like so it just kind of goes to play when they say that like all like 30 or so of you were just like the worst, man. You kind of feel like you have some kind of power over the way you feel if you can just group people into this little fucking group where you can over exaggerate. You know, the second verse comes in. It's like my favorite part of the song. Our love's a disaster. You made the dams give out. We flooded homes and chapels. Man, we ran out the pastor. The way he rose with the waves, like we started the rapture. And it's to like add this like over like, oh, our love caused all these bad things to happen, and but like also show like how over exaggerating I take it. I think by doing that, it goes to show that obviously I have some part to play in the way that these things are going. But and so like, that's kind of where like the over exaggeration humor of it comes in. The way you fold over me like I'm an empty basket, just kind of just throwing words out just to show that I can. You know?
I'm not gonna lie, like it's called studio laughter, like talking about like fumbling over and like all of these things and these dramatic things. I totally just like picture this like toxic sitcom, and I love it. Like I love the imagery of studio laughter too, because it's such a fucking uncanny thing.
It is, yeah.
Right? Aren't they like reusing like the same loops from like years and years ago, where like half of those people like aren't even here?
Yeah.
Like it's almost like
weird.
Ghost laughter.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, I'm like that. It just trips me out.
And even in a live audience sense, it's still fucking weird, you know?
Yeah.
To think that like it almost adds some kind of it adds the conception that the badness, that the fucked up shit, that the slapstick is inevitable because the audience is already here. You know, it's been set up for you, and yeah, man.
I mean, there is definitely. I feel like there's a rhythm and a music to comedic timing too, where it's like the studio laughter almost has like this offbeat that it kind of comes in. It's like you can feel when it's about to happen, but you never know still.
And then like and when it comes in initially, the way I join the crowd and we all start clapping, I love studio laughter. It's almost, that moment is almost like this, like it's not that you go into something good, but you're like getting away from this person, but it's almost like a fake. You just pretend and get over it.
Yeah, kind of like I remember when I was a kid, we used to play soccer and then like shake hands, good game, good game.
Yeah.
You do that 50 fucking times. Your arm hurts, you're bored, you're tired, you want to go home. Like it's kind of like those forced encounters.
Yeah.
You know, like the polite thing to do.
Yeah.
Right. Damn, that tripped me out. Like that whole thing. Like I just got definitely a lot to peek through on that.
Just like 30 decisions.
So I know that you've gotten like a lot of support that even I've seen, like just going downtown, hanging out, or like being at Vultures. Like I notice people recognize you a lot of places you go, and so I'm kind of curious, like what's one of the most impactful things that you think a fan has said to you or brought to you?
Well, honestly, when I played, I played the song Hologram at this open mic, and there's this guy I noticed like halfway through the song, he's just standing there, and kind of like that. And I saw him at one point, he looked like he was just torn apart. And this was back when I nearly closer to when I first wrote it. So every time I played it, I just played it with so much pain. And he came up to me after that, and he just fucking hugged me, and I held on to him for like fucking it had to be at least 60 plus seconds. And then he told me that his wife had died from an overdose. And so at the end of that song, when it was, I was in the 2, 3, 4 theme that goes on from the beginning, 20, 30, 40 days, 2, 3, 4 years, and then 20, 30, 40 pleasant milligrams. I can't miss a kiss of you, kind of just broken apart. And then we were like, he asked me to play it for him again. We're standing outside at the fire pit. I was like, sure. I started playing it. He made everyone around shut up, and just so he could feel that pain again. And he told me never to stop playing. I promised him I wouldn't.
That makes me want to cry. That is so beautiful.
Yeah, he felt that hurt. It resonated in such a personal way, and it's hard to even take some kind of partial credit for that, you know. But I'm glad to have been part of the experience, you know. That it touches my heart every time I think about it.
And I mean, that would definitely rip me up. But I mean, you just gotta know what you're doing is so fucking important in moments like that. It's like all those nights where you're like, fuck, I'm tired, and like I don't know what I'm doing, and you know, like why do I keep doing this, and like all this stuff. It's like that right there. That's exactly why. It's so fucking powerful. Did we talk about how you learned to play guitar? Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. I know you took a rather untraditional approach to teaching yourself to play guitar. I think that's one of the first things that I learned about you. And right away, I was like, this dude's punk rock as fuck, dude. Like, I was like, he's gnarly.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people our age, probably people even younger, can relate to it. But when I started learning guitar during like one of the worst depressions of like at least my adolescent life, it was just felt like I was like melting away day by day. It was just awful, and it's like not having been that young and not having anything that you're expected to do. You don't, you know, not speaking for myself, you just don't do. And I feel like I just was. I don't know if what I did for like so many years. Just I feel like I just sat in one place and just didn't have friends or anything. Just sat, and so. I started learning guitar because my soul was always gravitated towards it, and it's a really hard instrument to start learning from scratch. And
Oh yeah.
and the guitar was like this awful acoustic with the action, probably an inch off of it. So every time I made a mistake, I would like take a knife and I'd slice my wrist because it was just the most painful. I knew I wanted to be good at that more than anything, and lacking the instant gratification, I just replaced it with this completely negative kind of thing. But the pain of it, not wanting to feel it because I was committed to doing it, it like forced my fingers down on those strings so hard that I could feel like my nerves like shrieking from the pain. And when I strummed that clean C chord, it's like the first chord I ever strummed cleanly. It was like it was this wet. That's it. And fucking took me forever to strum it cleanly again, but it was just like proof that I could do it. And that was it. Just kept up with that for some time. But eventually I practiced like a normal person. I read books about music theory and kind of just learned the guitar through playing it. But I do have a decent amount of knowledge of it, you know, just notes and scales and things like that. But it's my soul, definitely.
Do you think that, because I imagine that if you were willing to inflict those wounds over like the guitar, I imagine you had some level of a relationship with self-harm prior to the guitar.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Do you think that bringing the guitar into the dynamic, though it overlapped for a minute, do you think it kind of brought you like almost like a path out of self-harm?
I feel like, yeah, for some time, but it definitely took almost near to my adult life for me to like, I feel like that was like not. And not even to I'll say to not do that. I feel like it's just ingrained to often feel like that's the move.
Yeah.
But you know, I never have to do that now. You know, so.
No, I definitely struggled with self-harm for many years. I don't think it was until I found out that my daughter had autism and that I realized what I was doing. Like some parts of my life I was really depressed and did want to hurt myself with the intention of just getting some sleep. And there's other times where I'd get overstimulated and I just would beat my face black and blue. Like I would show up to school with like a busted lip, busted eye and everything, and you could see that I did it to myself because I'd have these bruises down my arms as well. And in most cases, like you're not gonna die from hitting yourself like that. But I learned that a lot of people with autism, when they get overstimulated, deep pressure is one of the branches you can go to self-regulate. And I think I had such little support, such little resources that that's how I self-regulated for many years. It wasn't until I intentionally seeked things that could swap it out, like weighted blankets. But I didn't know what I didn't know.
Right.
It'd just be, boiling over until I just had a problem. But yeah, I appreciate you being so open and honest about it. I feel like nowadays everyone's like censoring how they speak about trauma, self-harm, people passing. For me, it's like those things are kind of hard conversations to have because they're not supposed to be digestible for just everyone,
Yeah, it's definitely not the recommended method to things like
Yeah,
that.
no, of course not. But just for me, like I hear that story, and I do hear just your absolute love for music. I also see this like kind of wounded child that's just being extremely hard on yourself, and I also see a fighter and someone seeking hope and kind of pushing through. So that's why that story kind of hits me. So like it's so much more than just the pain in it. It's what it grew to be. Sorry, it hits me every time.
Yeah.
It left a massive impression on me when I first learned that about you.
Looking back, it feels inevitable. I look back and I'm like, what else would I have done? That's right on the brain for what I would have done at that age and that mental state.
What advice do you have for people that might be in that mental state of hurting, or even new artists that are scared to put themselves out there, that might have a history of like mental health issues and are nervous to be vulnerable? What would you kind of say to some people in those positions?
I feel like I've learned a lot about sadness, at least personal sadness, in my lifetime. And one of the things that always stuck with me was like the thing that sucked about being perceived as sad is like the way that people approach you from there. It's like you either get some kind of exception, some kind of like hall pass to speak for some action that wouldn't normally get that treatment, or people give you this. We want to make you feel better, obviously, but like the way you approach that, I've learned just like really, it's kind of just about understanding the way that person feels. I would say that like you gotta treat, if you don't have people that come to you that way in the way that you need, you gotta treat the music like that friend that is gonna treat you the way that you need. So in doing so, just like you would be with the person that's treating you that way, you'd be vulnerable to it. And that's the only, and then if you do that, then you've done it correctly. That's what music is to me. It's a translation as direct as you can get it to be, with metal strings and your voice and some words. It's a translation of how you feel, an encapsulation of some time. It's like eternal.
I think it's beautiful too, taking that approach, because by you being that person for yourself on record, you then get to be that for people forever.
Right.
As long as it's accessible, people will be able to be impacted by that. I mean, shoot, like even Studio Laughter, like that song, for it to hit that guy on that exact day while you're playing live, imagine how many people can stumble on it on YouTube or on Spotify while you're sleeping, and like how many people might need that and return to it. Like you get to be that person you needed right then. It's like a spider web of timelines,
Yeah.
I think that's incredible.
I definitely like music.
Yeah, well, okay, I got one final question. It's stupid, but I noticed you have a good guy sweater on, and I've got Pearl up there, some pumpkins, and I'm getting ready to bring in some more horror movie elements, right? Spooky season. But I was gonna ask you, because I heard that Matt Rife recently bought the Warren Occult Museum. So I've been thinking about Annabelle, I've been thinking about haunted houses, I've been thinking about all this stuff. What are 3 items that you consider haunting?
I feel like I probably hunt an old sexy ass car.
Yeah.
And I'd like fucking, it had to be like a bunch of little things, like squirt people with the washer fluid or something, or like fucking little hunk of how that happened.
What type of car? Like when you picture one?
Maybe like a fucking 1969 Mustang. Yeah.
You'd be spraying people with the water.
Yeah, I don't know if that thing sprays water. Hopefully, that's like a long time.
I mean, you can use your powers for good or evil. Because if they're driving in the rain, you can just make the windshield wipers stop. Like.
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome. And then I feel like I'd probably. I mean, I know this one feels disrespectful. Maybe if it was my own corpse, but I'd say a corpse so I could like make people think that like zombies or something that actually would be a thing. That'd be awesome.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
The fact that you don't even go like my own corpse, you're like just any corpse.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it was someone real in like my lifetime. It'd be different. And then maybe like a capo so that I could lose myself. Like I just make sure people could never find me if I was their capo, so they could go through what I went through in my life.
That's awesome. I think it's cool because that's capo's probably like the most like nuzzled up and like cuddled up on the guitar.
Yeah.
So it's a good spot to be in. I love guitar.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for your time. I'm so grateful. Sorry, I was getting a little heavy on topics, but let the people know where they can find you.
You can. My name Benjamin Short. I'm on Spotify and Apple Music and Amazon Music, and that's my name on everything. And so, and then we make music.
Yeah, definitely. Got more projects coming up.
Where they find you, they can probably find you.
Right. But no, thank you so much for your time.
Kiss like 30 decisions, they left me shattered on 5th and Nevada with a bottle of wine and a bomber jacket. I must have looked like a bastard the way I joined the crowd and we all start clapping. I love studio laughter, it feels much more real than whatever just happened. Our love's a disaster. We made the dams give out. We flooded homes and chapels, man. We fucking ran out the pastor. The way he rose with the waves, like we started the rapture. Oh, and then right after you happened, I ran into a hurricane. She had eyes like magic, Lord, and she started casting. I fell in, the aftermath was tragic. Our love's a disaster. Oh wait, no, it goes, where does it go? Oh right. You're totally fabric, the way you fold over me like I'm an empty basket. No, but I'm full of distractions. Yeah, you can talk to me, just crying and laughing. Oh, instead you let me have it. Yeah, you became as real as studio laughter. Hey.